Our world is home to a very unique set of people called Idiot Savants. The Idiot Savant was a name given by John Langdon Down in 1887, which means learned idiot. The Savant syndrome is a condition in which someone with significant mental disabilities demonstrates certain abilities far in excess of average. Those with this condition generally have a neurodevelopmental disorder such as autism spectrum disorder or have a brain injury. The condition is rare and the frequency it affects is about 1 in a million. The savant skills are usually found in one or more of 5 major areas, which are art, memory, arithmetic, musical abilities, and spatial skills. The most common kinds of savants are the calendrical savants, which are called the human calendars. They can name the day of the week for any given date with speed and accuracy. The top 9 most notable idiot savants in the world. Number 9. Anthony Caesarea, born in 1952. Anthony Caesarea is a doctor specialized in orthopedic medicine and surgery, orthotics, and sports medicine. He is best known for acquiring an unusual affinity for music after being struck by lightning. In 1994, when Anthony was 42 years old, he was struck by lightning near Albany, New York, while standing next to a public telephone. He had just hung up the phone and was about a foot away when a bolt of lightning struck him. He recalled seeing his own body on the ground surrounded by a bluish-white light. His heart had stopped beating, but he was saved by a nearby nurse who applied first aid treatment to him. Several weeks after the incident, he consulted a neurologist because he was having difficulties with his memory. But the neurological exam he took found nothing unusual. After a few weeks, his energy returned and he resumed work. After a period of time when Anthony's memory problems disappeared, he was struck with an insatiable desire to listen to piano music. He bought a piano and taught himself how to play. His head became flooded with music that seemed to come from nowhere after that. Number 8. Matt Savage. Born in 1992, Matt Savage is a very special savant. Unlike the others, as an infant, he learned to walk early and learned how to read by the age of 18 months. At the age of 3, he was diagnosed of the savant syndrome. At age 6, Savage taught himself how to read piano music. In 2006, at the age of 14, he was featured on a CNN report about the human brain, in which Savage was defined as a prodigious savant. He has also released 12 albums as a solo performer. Number 7. Leslie Lemke. Born January 31st, 1952, is a blind American idiot savant who is most notable for his work as a musician. He was born prematurely in 1952 and as a complication of his premature birth, he developed retinal problems. His eyes had to be surgically removed in the first months of life. He also developed brain damage and his birth mother gave him up for adoption. He was 12 years before he learned to stand and 15 before he learned to walk. He was adopted by May Lemke and though social services warned her that Leslie was likely to die, she maintained that he would not die under her care. Leslie knew how to sing somewhat and repeat some phrases, but he was not conversant and was distant and unemotional. He could repeat verbatim and in the exact tone what he had heard. When Leslie was 7, May obtained the piano for him and taught him by placing her hands over his. By the age of 12, Leslie was playing the piano and singing songs he had heard. Though he had not often heard classical music, when he was about 14, his foster parents awoke in the middle of the night to Leslie flawlessly playing Chavusco's Piano Concerto No. 1, which he had heard on television that night. Leslie was soon playing all styles of music. Leslie could remember and play back a musical piece of any length flawlessly after hearing it just once. Among the many songs he was estimated to know, two that he often sang were the Christian hymns How Great Thou Art and Amazing Grace. Number 6. Derek Paravicini. Born in 26 July 1979 in Berkshire, England. Paravicini was born extremely prematurely at 25 weeks along with a twin sister who did not survive birth. He was blinded by an overdosage of oxygen therapy given during his time in an intensive care unit. This also affected his brain development, resulting in his having severe learning impediments. In spite of all this, Paravicini had the ability to play any piece of music after hearing it once. What will shock you is that the blind Paravicini had begun playing the piano at the age of 2 when he was given an old keyboard. His parents arranged for him to attend a school for the blind in London. On his first visit to the school, in the music room, the blind Paravicini broke free from his parents, then headed straight for a piano that was being played. Number 5. Daniel Tammet. Born in 31st January 1979. Daniel Tammet is an English essayist, novelist, poet, translator, and idiot savant. Tammet was born and raised in East London, England. As a child, Tammet suffered epileptic seizures, which continued following medical treatment. He participated twice in the World Memory Championships in London and placed 11th position in 1999 and 4th in 2000. In 2003, it was discovered by researchers that Tammet had a super memory. According to the tests he took, he performed abnormally well on short-term and long-term memory tests. To Tammet, each positive integer up to 10,000 has its own unique shape, color, texture, and feel. He described the visual image of 289 as ugly and 333 as particularly attractive, while the number 117 as a handsome, tall, lanky, and a little bit wobbly number. On the 14th of March 2004, he set the European record for reciting pi from memory up to 22,514 digits in 5 hours and 9 minutes. Number 4. Alonzo Clemons. Born in 1958, is an American animal sculptor and savant. He lives in Boulder, Colorado. Clemons suffered a severe brain injury as a child that left him with an IQ with a range as low as 40 to 50. But he was able to create very accurate animal sculptures out of clay. He can create a sculpture of almost any animal, even if he has only a glimpse of it. He is also able to create a realistic and anatomically accurate three-dimensional rendering of an animal after only looking at a two-dimensional image for mere moments. With these mind-defying abilities, his works have sold for as much as $45,000, and even though Clemons is unable to tie his shoes since birth, he has been able to accurately sculpt the animals he sees on TV. Number 3. Blind Tom. Born in May 25th, 1849 and unfortunately passed out June 14, 1908. Blind Tom was born blind and was sold along with his enslaved parents in 1850 to General Benton, and because Tom was blind and could not perform work normally demanded of slaves, his owners originally wanted to kill him since he had no economic value to them. At an early age, he showed an interest in the piano after hearing the instrument played by Benton's daughter. By age 4, he had learnt and acquired some piano skills by ear and gained access to the piano by age 5. He composed his first tune, The Rainstorm, after a torrential downpour on a tin roof. As a child, Tom began to echo the sounds around him, repeating accurately the crow of a rooster or the singing of a bird. At the age of 4, it was discovered that Tom was able to repeat conversations of up to 10 minutes in length. Another example of Tom's extraordinary abilities was shown in 1860, while Tom was still 10 years old. He was taken to the political rally of Stephen Douglas, and years after he attended this speech, he was still able to repeat it while capturing the tone and mannerism of Stephen Douglas. Additionally, he was able to recreate the cheers of the crowd with remarkable precision. So, Benton hired professional musicians to play for Tom, who could reproduce their performances after listening to it once. Eventually, he learned 7,000 pieces of music as a blind boy and was used as Benton's tool for generating income. Benton was able to amass millions of dollars from Blind Tom's performances every year. Number 2. Stephen Wiltshire, born in April 24, 1974. Stephen Wiltshire is a British architectural artist and idiot savant. He is known for his ability to draw a landscape from memory after seeing it once. Stephen was mute when young, and at the age of 3 he was diagnosed with the savant syndrome. When he was about 7, Stephen became fascinated with sketching landmark London buildings. His instructors at school would deal with his lack of verbal communication skills by temporarily taking away his art supplies so that he would be forced to learn to ask for them. Stephen usually responded by making sounds and eventually uttered his first word, paper. Eventually, with the aid of his teachers, he learned how to speak fully at the age of 9. Wiltshire can look at a subject once and then draw an accurate and detailed picture of it. He frequently draws entire cities from memory based on single brief helicopter rides. For example, he produced a detailed drawing of 4 square miles of London after a single helicopter ride above the city. In May 2005, Wiltshire produced his largest ever panoramic memory drawing of Tokyo on a 32.8-foot long canvas within 7 days, following a helicopter ride over the city. Since then, he has drawn Rome, Hong Kong, Frankfurt, Madrid, Dubai, Jerusalem and London on giant canvases. When Wiltshire took the helicopter ride over Rome, he drew it in such great details that he drew the exact number of columns in the Pantheon. Finally, at the top of our list, number 1 is Kim Peek, born November 11, 1951 and died December 19, 2009. Kim Peek is known as a mega savant. He had an exceptional memory, and although Peek was born with macrocephaly, which is damage to the cerebellum and agnesis of the corpus callosum, a condition in which the bundle of nerves that connect the 2 hemispheres of the brain is missing. In Peek's case, secondary connectors were also missing. This caused his neurons to make unusual connections due to the absence of a corpus callosum, resulting in an increase of his memory functions. At this point, Peek's brain had mutated. Although Peek had an IQ as low as 87 and did not walk until he was 4 years old, Peek was able to memorize things from the age of 16 to 20 months. He could speed through a book in about an hour and remember every single thing he had read. Peek read by scanning the left page with his left eye and the right page with his right eye at the same time. According to an article in the Times newspaper, he could accurately recall the contents of at least 12,000 books.